Hello, boys, babes, and all of you beans in between. Welcome back to a series that I've never done before, but let's get started. The title of the series is going to be All the Blocks. Now, that being said, what does that mean? For me, that is a challenge of I am going to try and build out of any block palette that I'm given, be it from comments or from friends or suggestions from outside sources. We are going to be building with a block palette of 3 to 5 blocks from any variety to prove that you can build anything cool out of just about anything. There is no limit to what you can do with Minecraft. So, among those blocks, there must be at least one that can be used to make stairs or slabs, and anything else, it must be a full block. Decorative pieces like flowers can be added later, but that's not the primary thing. We're looking at blocks. So, the point of this is to prove that you can build anything out of anything. So, the first starting palette that I was given was Blackstone, red sandstone, acacia, and prismarine. So let's see what I come up with for that. Alrighty, so the big thing I want to do here was make sure it looked good in its environment. So I really felt like the Badlands biome was probably our best bet, or the Mesa, depending on how you refer to it. But you know, Minecraft calling it Badlands, so that's what it is. But I found this super cool peninsula, and because of the prismarine that was going to be involved in it, I really wanted to find a way to incorporate at least a water-looking environment with it without having to be in the water. So this super cute like river convergent spot was what I felt like was the perfect opportunity to put it in an environment that just looked good with it. So previously, I will go ahead and admit that I went ahead and designed this ahead of time in creative. I'll be doing that with all of these builds, but I want to go ahead and then put them into an environment where it looks like it would actually exist in a game. So here's what we are at this house. I really like the idea of the prismarine as the floor and the blackstone as the base surrounding it, just giving it a stronger foundation look. I know the style I ended up going with was a mix of kind of fantasy to modern-esque appearance, also throwing in some energy that you would see in some of my old builds I used to do on the Sleepycraft server. So from there, I wanted to give it like a open gazebo kind of front area inside of it. I didn't really focus on the interior, obviously, just because it didn't make sense to do it with the blocks I had, but I wanted to build a house for this in particular. So I was trying to mix up some sort of not cybery, but sci-fi fantasy energy to give it a fun, exciting look to it. So let's finish off this build real quick and see how we're looking. I do a little bit of terraforming at the end of this just to make sure it looked good in its surrounding without adding any new blocks to it. So that's about how the house came out. It's overall very blue, very orange, but I like it, so let's see what else I can do with it. Alrighty, so as you can see, this build came out fairly decently. It was a pretty weird color palette to the least, and I honestly am very happy with how it came out. But the one thing about it that's driving me a little nuts is that I have not worked into the environment much at all. I had this little path a little bit, got a little archway. But the thing that throws me off with it is I would like to add some more terraforming. So given that this is my little series and my little rules, I'm going to argue that terraforming can take whatever block palette I so choose, but the build itself needs to maintain a block palette. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to go ahead and make some sort of adjustments to fit it into the environment a little better and just give some ideas of how to play with this block palette even more. Once again, this was randomly assigned to me via a friend of mine who just was like, hey, yeah, no, I can give you random blocks, sure. And so this is what we're going to work with and add some more things to it. So let's see what we can do real quick. Alrighty, so some small tweaks have been made. We added this little bit of dock, we worked on the path a little more, added the extra arch, and we added a little garden. We wanted to add something else that just made it feel a little bit more in the environment, lived in space kind of dealio. So we went with some alien style plants with these lovely, lovely little twisting vines on top of the warped wart block all around the house to make it feel like they planted a garden. Is it well taken care of? Not really. Well planned out? Not at all. But they wanted something that lived here. Now, who they is, that's up to you. I don't know who lives here. But I did style this garden with a little bit of intention to look a bit like a modeled bonsai tree like you can find in many Japanese gardens, with a raked rock kind of feeling along the bottom of this garden with using the stripped acacia blocks. But we also threw in a cute little bench, and outside of just adding mostly warped block pallets, we didn't do much to change here. That honestly is all it took for me to feel like it was more worked into the environment, and other than adding in the occasional sandstone or what is this, red sandstone block to make it feel like there's a little bit like a worn path mixed in, and the texture not be so singular with the sandy, which honestly it's barely noticeable, but I think it makes a huge difference in what you notice in the environment. We also threw in the good old soul lanterns to make it just a little more lit up. I didn't want to mess with the interior because I feel like it is honestly good enough as is without doing the interior, and I don't want to pull too many blocks into the build that aren't already built in. But I love how this looks, and I would love to see what you guys can come up with these block pallets. Give me a shout out somewhere that you've built something. Show me what you can come up with. Give me a suggestion of what kind of like style you think this is and how cool you think it'd be to do something else with it. I'd love to see this with a modern mix on it, or even pull out the copper oxidization process and give me something that looks like it's built out of copper, worn down and left out in nature. I have so many more of these I want to do, and if you have suggestions for block pallets you want to see, put it down in the comments for me and I will get into them eventually, hopefully. We'll see which ones come up first. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any blocks that you think would have made this a little better, let me know. But remember, folks, build with your heart and have the blast while doing so. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye now.